right now we are looking at this euro dollar on the 60-minute time frame. And for us to understand where the money spot is, remember that the money spot is a confusion between the seller and the buyer, okay? And none of them know exactly who is winning, okay? And for us, that we are looking at the chart, we can see usually some kind of range mode because the seller and the buyer are trapped inside a price range, okay? And for us to understand and to gauge who is winning, we need to look at that range and look at the strength of both parties inside of that range, okay? So the first thing for us is to mark those territories. Usually it's major territories and mini territories, or overall territories and the miniature breaches. So just pause the video and start to mark those areas in this chart. Okay, so marking the areas now, we can see that we are going higher and higher. We break above this area, we range at this area, and then we break below, okay? So if we are looking at the bigger picture here, we can see that we have a guy who started down here, okay? So this would be the guy who started. This all up move. And this would be the guy who started for the down move here. Because this guy broke below. From a miniature perspective, this is still inside this kind of a range area. So up until this point, we can see that after this buyer broke above, and it broke above with strength, because this is the overall buyer, he went above with strength, but he got trapped below this guy here, okay? So we have this kind of a range at this point. And this range has all the steam from the money spot, okay? Because this guy who started is still looking at to buy, and this one is trying to look to sells, okay? So right now, I want you to pause the video and look at this area here and try to gauge what is happening inside this area, okay? To see who is winning and what are the signs of who is winning, because we can see already who is trying to win. But I want you to just think about the signs that you see in the chart that tells you, okay, maybe this buyer is winning, or maybe the seller is winning, okay? Just pause the video and think about this. Okay, so the first, just like the other video, remember that we should always try to compare the pushes and the aggressive nature of each, the buyer and the seller. And for our reference, this is the seller, and for our reference, this is the buyer, okay? So we don't compare these two. We compare the buyers every time inside the money spot, and we compare the sellers. So we can see that this seller was aggressive, okay? But when the breach line of that seller got touched by this buyer, look at the reaction of the seller. Nothing special, right? Really slow, really weak. Buyer pushed up again, and this time went to the all the way to the guy who started. And here, yes, the seller is interested and pushes the market back down. Again, buyer picks up the market at the same area. This seller couldn't go much further. Buyer picks up again, and look, the seller again near the breach line. How does he react? Slowly, really slowly. So if this was the same seller pushing down, this second push is so weak, okay? And look at how the buyer comes up. Aggressive. Do you see something similar? This aggression from the buyer? Okay? Even though this was aggressive, it cannot compare to this aggression he had at the beginning. But even so, it can be compared almost the same. But these pushes here, no, they are so weak. Okay, so from this perspective, it seems that the seller is not interested in these lower prices. It's just interested at those higher prices. And then the buyer picks up again with a lot of strength. Again, okay, this buyer, again with a lot of strength. And this area here would be the best spot for us to buy. Why is that? Because this guy is being challenged again, and look at how he reacts. There's nothing here. He doesn't react with strength. It's just, it looks like it's pulling back almost. And it is pulling back from another time frame. So this seller is not here any longer. Is not aggressive any longer. So this would be the best place to buy. But you can also buy from down here. When you see this buyer inside the money spot, trying to push the market higher every time with aggression, and this seller with the inability to go lower. Okay, so in here, you could eventually buy up until there, that spot. Or try to hold and wait for this seller to show up again. And after you see this seller struggling so much to pull down, then holding to the trade to go a little higher. Okay, so this is the money spot here below the breach. But sometimes the money spot can also happen at other areas of interest, like this area here, or sometimes this area is here, okay? It's not always the breach line, it's not always the guy who started, okay? The money spot is a place where both seller and buyer are fighting to get control of the price, to just move the price after that, okay? It's where you have all the steam. Cheers.